Hall Pleasaunce is a charming haven. The historic connections of former years have been lovingly preserved and more recently restored to their former glory. Recorded history of the site dates it back to the 13th century, but it was in Tudor times that the Roper family acquired Well Hall and probably built a house within the Moat Island area, which is reached by the surviving medieval bridge. William Roper's wife Margaret was the daughter of Sir Thomas More, the Lord Chancellor to King Henry VIII, who attended nearby Eltham Palace when on official business. The property remained in the Roper family until 1733, when it was sold to Sir Gregory Page, who pulled down the 16th century Well Hall, built within a moated area, and replaced it with a new residence also known as Well Hall. This lay to the east of the site, between Well Hall Road and the moat. The property, which included the hall and adjoining farm buildings, continued in the ownership of the Page family, but was largely rented out. From 1779 to 1799, it was the home and workshop of famous watchmaker John Arnold. Between 1899 and 1922, it was the family home of Hubert Bland, a writer and founder of the Fabian Society, and his wife, Edith Nesbit, who wrote her famous children's stories, including The Railway Children, The Treasure Seekers, and 5 Children and It, while living here. The house was demolished in the early 1930s. Woolwich Borough Council bought this historic site in 1929 for a new public park. In 1936, after careful restoration from farm use, the Tudor Barn was opened as an art gallery and restaurant. The name Pleasaunce came from a local head teacher. At the time, the dictionary description was a garden, particularly a pleasure garden, secluded by trees, shrubs and hedges. A successful bid by Greenwich Council in 1998 for Heritage Lottery funding led to the renovation of the park in the spirit of the 1930s, with the agreement of English Heritage for this unique conservation area site. Official recognition that the Pleasaunce is managed and maintained to an excellent standard has come with the presentation of a Green Flag Award by the Civic Trust. The refurbishment works included restoration of the Tudor garden brick walls, including the bee holes and the moat brick walls, fountains, cascade and pools restored, replacement of conifers with more appropriate species, substantial replanting of flower beds, shrub beds and hedges, replacement of fruit trees, replacement of the boundary railings and new matching internal railings, toilet refurbishment and improved disabled access. The bowling green is immaculately maintained and well used by keen bowls players, and the open spaces in the park entice families to a safe and pleasant environment. Well Hall Pleasaunce is a park for the enjoyment of the whole community. Not far from where I live is a place called William Barefoot Drive, and before we'd ever come to Well Hall Pleasaunce, I thought William Barefoot was like some ancient explorer from the area, or founding father or whatever. Then we came here and I discovered this memorial seat. There's me. And looked him up, and yeah, he was actually like on the local council. But that's okay, because if it wasn't for William Barefoot, places like Well Hall Pleasaunce wouldn't exist anymore. They would have been knocked down, sold for flats or whatever. So good on you, William. This is the Tudor Barn. It is the only remaining Tudor barn in London. And look, it's got things like tunnels underneath. I don't know what that's for. Is that to get to the cellar or something? I'm not sure. Maybe take a little boat under there. As you can see, originally it was 3 stories, but if I'm allowed to go inside, they've taken the topmost floor out. And they did that in the 1930s when they renovated this area, when they knocked down Well Hall, which is where Edith Nesbit and Hubert Bland and their family lived. They knocked that down and they restored this, and see the bell there That was previously in Well Hall when it served as a school. And over here you can see on the wall there the initials of WR, that's William Roper, and he built it. All sorts of other things. Hang on, see what I can find. There's his initials again, WR. See how close I can get. There's a plaque somewhere, so I can find it. For some reason, there's some renovations going on. Okay, I can't really go actually. Anti-climb paint. Not far from where I live is a place called William Barefoot Drive, and before we'd ever come to Eltham, and before we'd ever come to Well Hall Pleasaunce, yes, it's very noisy, and you do know that you actually are right near the road, but it's okay. This is the bowling green. When I first came to England, I was surprised at the lack of bowling greens, because Australia is one of those things that is very popular in bowling greens. And yeah, I think I've seen 2 bowling greens since I've been here. There's probably more. There's one in, I don't think of the other nest. I was sure there was one in Chislehurst, but there's not one in Chislehurst. Lots of queens have used it. The planting of native trees, including poplar, willow, birch, will over time reduce the visual intrusion and provide a habitat for birds such as tits, robins, thrushes and blackbirds. The new trees have been planted close together to allow a new woodland to develop.